Pepper says, are you ready to declutter another section of this hoarded basement? I know I am. It is that time of the week again. It is time to declutter another section in this hoarded basement. And the past month, we've made amazing progress opening up the middle of the basement. We've been able to declutter bigger sections more quickly, and a lot of that has to do with changing the behavior, meaning that it's a lot easier for me to declutter and make decisions to let things go as it did in previous years, because now it's a new habit. We declutter each and every week. It's not as scary. I've done a lot of the emotional and mental work of releasing past traumas, releasing the attachment to items, but there's still some attachment that exists. And for today, we are now working on this side of the middle of the basement. A lot of stuff that got churned over here. The remaining Christmas bins, because the Christmas cave still has a leak and we are going to have to hire someone, but also organized craft bins and miscellaneous craft bins.
Okay, so I feel like the main goal for today is to go through all of these miscellaneous craft bins. These are bins and craft supplies that we found spread out on the first half of the basement. And I kind of funneled them into tubs and bins over here because this is where all the crafting stuff is. For today is to go through the miscellaneous bins, start to sort them into mini bins into their categories. That way, when we're done sorting, I can put them into their official labeled bin. And as we're going through all of the fun craft supplies, of course, you know I'm going to tell you all about the emotional ties and self-identity I have tied into the craft supplies, because any type of art supply, paint, pencils, paper, mediums, even little decor to create stuff, I have an extreme deep attachment to all of these types of items. I've always hoarded and saved craft supplies from a very young age. So like I always said, beneath every behavior, there's a feeling, and beneath every feeling, there's a need. Meet the need. Well, what would the need be for me to forever, since childhood, hold on to every craft supply in hopes of creating it into something new and not being able to discard something and recognize that, well, yes, I've had this craft supply for about 10 years, but I never used it. I can't logically make the decision to let it go. No, I have to hoard it for at least another 10 years because maybe I'll finally make something out of it. The need that is triggering all the feelings to come up is from my past, and it's from my childhood past. And the reason why I hold on to the craft supplies for the tight grip is because when I was a child, I knew that I was talented in arts and crafts. It was probably the only arena of my life that I had self-confidence in. I knew that I could draw. I knew I could create something out of trash. I did it as long as I can remember. I remember always being praised by everyone. My parents, my relatives, my teachers, even my peers and students and friends. They recognized the natural talent I had of drawing, creating, and crafting. And it was where I had my self-confidence in. Growing up, I was very insecure in all of my talents and in everything that I did, except for this area. And with the bullying in middle school and with being abused as a teenager, I still held on to that confidence, knowing that I was an artist and I could do this. The only issue was that though I had a self-identity and a self-worth in this, I had still transferred it into the objects. Why? Because it was the objects that I used to create the art to show everybody. That's how I detached my creativity into the inanimate objects. If I didn't have the materials to create the projects, no one would compliment me or see me to validate myself, who was struggling with her own self-worth as an 8, 9, 10, 12, 16-year-old girl. This was what I had. That's how I put my self-worth again into inanimate objects to validate who I was as a person. It was just another coping mechanism for me. Because if I didn't have my supplies to create the projects, it was almost like my talent didn't exist, because I didn't have a physical object to show anyone, to get that validation of, wow, you're a really good artist. I'm proud of you. That looks really good. Because that's what I was seeking, because I couldn't give it to myself. And that's why I've always held so tightly to all of the crafting items. I couldn't look at it the other way around, that my talent always exists with or without the physical objects. It always existed. It never disappeared. And yes, the art supplies is the physical manifestation of that creativity, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist within me. It doesn't mean that the talent never appeared. I still have it. And that's part of the mindset shift that I need to have. Right now, I am being the observer, the Miss Hart, the recovering hoarder in 2024, looking back at her 8-year-old inner child, feeling those emotions. If I don't have my craft supplies and I don't make an art project that makes me feel happy, the only area that I feel any type of self-confidence in, then I'm back to being a nobody. I'm just feeling those emotions. I'm not putting a judgment on it. I'm just releasing it as I'm feeling it. I'm letting it pass. And Miss Hart 2024 is observing and witnessing this and telling my 8-year-old inner child that you are a good kid. You have many talents, though art is a very strong talent of yours because it shows your creativity and how much you love doing it. That you have other talents in other areas as well, and that you're a good kid. You're going to grow up to be a good adult. It's all right. Don't listen to the other kids that are mocking you and teasing you. They're going through their own stuff. Don't worry about it. I'm just allowing myself to bring up those suppressed emotions, bring them up to the conscious, up to the now, talk about it with all of you so that we can let it disappear. Just get it out. Stop suppressing it. Because I noticed that once I bring it up and talk about it and let it go, like really, really let it go, I noticed that the grip of holding on to each and everything in my house becomes less and less, because I'm starting to finally learn how to put the self-identity, the self-worth, and the self-love back into myself. That's how I'm detaching. That's how I'm detaching all those deep emotional threads to the stuff. By having a basement full of 20 tubs of craft supplies doesn't prove my talent as an artist. It never did. I don't need it to self-soothe the past. I can recognize it for what it is, that it's there for me to create when I'm feeling called and feeling the need and feeling the passion to do so. But it would be so much better to let go of the things that I know I'm not going to create into something new. Organize the things that I know that I can already look at the project and start piecing together these ideas in my head that yes, I want to make this. Those are the pieces that I'm going to keep and I'm going to curate and I'm going to organize so that when I'm ready to have that crafting area and I can start crafting, I'll know exactly where it's at. And I can finally recognize that the pieces that I'm not having any creative visions the moment that I hold on to it probably means I'm not motivated enough to make it into something, and that it's okay to let it go. They're $2 stickers. I can rebuy them if I really, really need it for a project in the future. But for now, let's give it to somebody else. Let's transfer the joy. And this is why I want to be really vocal with all of you with this to really truly understand the mindset behind hoarding. This is why I've held on to it. This is why. This is why you see me struggling to let it go. I feel like I'm throwing myself away. And one of the few areas that I've always felt self-confidence in, I'm throwing that all away. And we're not throwing ourselves away because we want to give something to somebody else. It never disappeared. Our self-worth never disappeared. We're just learning to now bring that energy back within ourselves. We're just learning to transfer the love, the self-love from the external items back to ourselves. I can love myself for having the potential of being able to create as an artist, the potential to make a gift for someone and just make their day. That's where I'm transferring that energy back into myself, my self-worth, my self-confidence, my self-worth. And I pray that this message kind of helps anyone out there who's feeling the same as I do.
And with that, me and Miss Pepper are so excited to show you the huge crafting tossy piles. We emptied out 3 full bins. The few things that we kept, we put back into their organized bins, but wow, this is a lot of stuff that we're letting go of. And I just really want to be in the moment that, again, this is a big victory with somebody who has hoarding disorder. And Miss Pepper actually decided that it's best to keep this box because she just fits so perfectly into it. Now, this is the area that we were working in, and it's not that much of a drastic before and after, so I'm kind of glad I did a bunch of before and afters in the beginning of the video. But we did let go of a lot of stuff in those craft bins, and the idea is that we're going to continuously work in here, reorganize it, re-straighten it out, because there's always more stuff to declutter as we go through all of this. And my hope and my prayer is that this video motivated and encouraged you to clean, declutter, and let something go in your home today too.